Okay, today we're going to be looking at function operations. This is basically just taking two functions, such as the one you can see here below, where you have like x squared plus 7x plus 10, and g of x is x plus 2. We're going to be adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing them. When you add them, you're simply just combining like terms. Subtracting, the biggest thing is you need to make sure you distribute the minus sign. When you multiply, you're going to do the smaller function to the larger function. You're going to distribute each part, and then divide. You're going to factor first. So if you have a squared term, you're going to factor first, and then if you have a same term on top and bottom of your fraction or your division sign, you'll cancel those out. So if we look at these functions, f of x, x squared plus 7x plus 10, and g of x is x plus 2. If I look at adding f of x and g of x, then we would have x squared plus 7x plus 10 plus g of x, which is x plus 2. So if we combine like terms, we have x squared, my 7x and my x combined to be ax, my 10 and my 2 combined to be 12, and that would be your answer. Simple as that. Second example, if we have f of x minus g of x, big thing here is just watching that minus sign. So we've got our f of x function, x squared plus 7x plus 10. We're going to be subtracting the entire g of x. So minus in parentheses x plus 2. That means all terms in there get subtracted. So x squared plus 7x plus 10 minus x minus 2. That minus sign distributes to both terms. Both terms are being subtracted. So of x squared, 7x and negative x would be plus 6x. 10 and negative 2 would be plus 8. And so that would be your subtraction. Now if we look at multiplying them, we've got, so let me rewrite our functions. We've got f of x was, x squared plus 7x plus 10, and g of x is x plus 2. So now if we go and multiply, so number 3 would be f of x times g of x. We're going to have, even though it says, well, we'll just write it out the way it says. We're going to have x squared plus 7x plus 10 times, we're going to put everything in parentheses since we're multiplying x plus 2. Like I said earlier up here, it's easier to distribute the smaller function to the larger. You can go in either direction. I just feel like it's easier to go small to big. So I'm going to start with this x. This x distributes to all three terms on my larger function. So we'll have x cubed plus 7x squared plus 10x. And then we're going to distribute the 2 to all terms. So the 2 will go to all three terms. So we'll have plus 2x squared plus 14x plus 20. And now it's just a matter of combining like terms. So we have x cubed, we have 7x squared and 2x squared, so plus 9x squared. 10x and 14x will be plus 24x, and then plus 20, and that would be your final answer. The last one I want to look at is division. So if we have f of x divided by g of x, here we have x squared plus 7x plus 10 divided by x plus 2. We need to factor the top. Multiplies to be 10, adds to be 7. That would be x plus 5 times x plus 2 over x plus 2. You notice x plus 2 divided by x plus 2 is 1, so we're going to cancel those out. So our answer would just be x plus 5. The next thing we're going to look at is getting into a little bit of function composition. We're going to spend more time with this tomorrow. However, I want to start you off looking at when we're just evaluating, so when we have numbers. So this is function composition. The composition of functions is really how we typically state it. It's going to be written two ways. So it will be written as f of g of x, or you'll see it as f with this little open dot. Oops, except mine wasn't open. F of g, and then it'll have the x as well. Okay, both of these you're going to say it f of g of x is how it's stated. So when you see it with all these x and g, the next x is connected, you say f of g of x. Here where it looks like clause, that means the same thing, f of g of x. As you do all these problems, you work from the inside out. So on these, you would start with your g of x, or if there was a number, which is what we're going to look at today, you're going to plug that number into the g function. When you get that answer, then you'll plug it into the f function. So you start from the inside, and then you work your way out. So if we go and look at these two equations, so if I give you f of x is equal to x squared plus 2x plus 1, and g of x is x plus 1. The first example we're going to do is we're just going to find f of 3. So we're going to simply start by evaluating f of 3. This means to plug 3 in for x on the f function. So we're going to take our f function, f of x, this one right above it. Everywhere there's an x, we're going to put a 3. So we're going to say 3 squared plus 2 times 3 plus 1. That'll give me 9 plus 6 plus 1, which is equal to 16. So we know that f of 3 is equal to 16. Where this gets a little bit different is when we're going to do our compositions. We're going to use f of x and g of x, or you could use f of x and f of x again, or g of x and g of x again, or g of x and f of x. It doesn't really matter. There's a bunch of ways you could do it. So if we look at this one, if we have f of g of 2. This is the way I prefer to write it, but again, you could also see this as, sometimes it'll be parentheses, sometimes it'll be brackets. F, open circle, pretend like it's open, of g of 2. They mean the same thing, okay? So both of those things mean exactly the same thing. What this means is we're going to take 2, we're going to plug 2 into my g function. Once I get that answer, I'm going to then plug it into my f function. So we're going to start by doing g of 2. So we start with, let me go back to my green, we're going to start with g of 2. And we're going to say, I'm going to plug 2 into my g function. So 2 plus 1, that's equal to 3. The next step that we're going to do is I'm going to kind of scratch this. I'm going to put these on here. Okay, the next thing we're going to do, now that we know g of 2 is equal to 3, so this part is equal to 3, we're now going to do f of 3. So whatever answer you get here is going to go in the next step. So f of 3, we're going to plug 3 into my f function, which we happen to have just done, but let's do it again for good luck. So we're going to have 3 squared plus 2 times 3 plus 1. I know you can't read that, but trust me, and you should plug it in on your own. So we have 9 plus 6 plus 1, which is equal to 16. So we know that f of g of 2 is equal to 16. So again, the main idea here is you start on the inside. Whatever comes on the most inner, you're going to plug that number into g, or whatever letter is there. And once you get that answer, so here we got 3, you're going to then plug it into the next letter out. So I'm going to plug it into my f function.